Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hi everyone, Don here from The Three Guys. Due to unforeseen circumstances, we are going back to the vault. But join us next week when we review John Hughes' Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So for tonight, sit back, relax, and listen to us review the professor's pick of the 1994 True Lies. Beware, spoilers.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Yeah, but they were all bad.
Welcome to this week's podcast. As always, I'm Don, the host. To my right is John, our web guy and comic book guy.
Heidi ho.
And to my left, the professor, my man Ken.
Hello there.
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing well. It's good to be here.
True Lies, a classic. Released July 15th, 1994, directed by one James Cameron. I think I said when we first talking about this is my second favorite James Cameron film.
And what would your first be?
The Terminator.
I think that this is probably the high point in Schwarzenegger and Cameron's movie. They previously had Terminator 2, which was rock solid, and it had wonderful special effects. And this movie as well has really effective special effects. And I think that this is probably the high point in Schwarzenegger's career.
I think
True Lies?
True Lies.
I think this one's just amazing for the way it combines comedy and action.
Yeah, it did that. Those two storylines were interwoven very well. This was a really big year for movies too. 1994.
Yeah.
You had The Lion King, Forrest Gump, True Lies, Speed, Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption. Really big year for movies.
Yeah, for sure. It was written by some people who did a screenplay, and then it was written by one James Cameron.
Yes, that's correct.
For the screenplay. And it totally comes out in his writing.
Would you like to correct him, Ken?
Well, he also produced it.
Yes, he did produce it. At this point, James Cameron was becoming a pretty big name, right? He would go on then to do Titanic, where he would say he was the king of the world.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a big fan of Cameron movies.
Yeah, this was his biggest budget movie up until he made Titanic. This movie was actually based off of a French film, I believe called La Totola. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry if I butcher that for anybody who speaks French out there. Almost the exact same storyline in the French version as was in the American version. So for a remake to do as well as it did, I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, when you have Arnold Schwarzenegger as your star in 1994, you know.
Oh, and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Tom Arnold, Bill Paxton, Tia Carrera, Art Malik, Eliza Dushku, and Grant Heslov rounds out our cast. What did you guys think?
It's a really solid summer movie. It's so much fun to watch.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger always wanted to do a James Bond-esque movie, and though this was his big chance.
All right, so the film opens up, like we said, with the opening credits, and then we see our hero.
Yes,
Arnold.
Being totally James Bond.
Swimming underwater. Frigid cold water.
Mm-hmm. Comes up, breaks the ice. Looks like he comes up, through a pool?
One of you was very perturbed by what he did with his expensive equipment.
That was me.
Oh, that was Ken. Oh, yeah.
Well, he comes up with the infrared goggles on and his on top of his scuba mask. And he just pulls it off and just dumps it into the water. And I'm sure that somebody watching the movie, oh, look at all that equipment go.
Well, if this is the way it really happens, this is why we pay high taxes.
Oh, I know. I mean, wait till we get to later on. As I was watching this, right, in the third act, I'm like, fuck. All right, so we start with Arnold Schwarzenegger being all James Bond, coming up from the pool, infiltrates his way into looks like to be gala of some sort. Dips and weaves his way until he finds his target.
Yeah. I love how he took off his wetsuit for his perfectly dry pressed tux with no wrinkles. There must be some special government secret agent.
There are some things that we have to let go of.
Suspend belief.
There's another scene where I thought the exact same thing, but we'll get there.
But no, it could be some special material that only the government has that dries quickly. And in the fact of anybody who scuba dives knows that when you come out of frigid cold water, if your face isn't completely covered, your face is going to be bright red for like 20 minutes. And of course, his isn't.
Not if you are
And doesn't have the mask
Arnold
print on it.
Schwarzenegger
Or
in True Lies.
Or if you're familiar enough to know that wetsuit, it is impossible to take off by yourself, as it is a two-person job.
Again, it's Arnold.
And it's a movie, and we suspend belief.
Maybe he just flexed and it popped off.
Oh, that's what happened.
So it's a one-time use? That seems like a waste of taxpayers' money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He bobs and weaves his way through the crowd.
Was he's first getting out of the water? Is this where we get to meet Tom Arnold in the van?
No.
Do we get to first hear him, or do we hear him later?
Once he says talk radio, isn't that what he says? Talk radio.
Yeah, well,
That's when we get the van. Yeah, we meet two other characters.
right. Because Harry, or Arnold, puts the hearing piece in.
Gil. Oh yeah, Harry Tasker.
Yeah, he puts the thing in his ear, and that's when Tom Arnold goes, talk radio. I love when he meets the general. It's like he genuinely knows him, right? Like the real Harry Tasker would know this guy for some reason. The way he presented it.
Well, I also like when he comes through the kitchen right in the beginning, and one of the people tries to stop him and talk to him. And
The chef.
He comes out and pretends like he's the host of the whole party, saying, all the food is wrong. Take the food back and redo it all.
Yeah, and then the chef does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then him and Tia Carrera catch eyes.
Yes.
Character.
Juno Skinner, the
Juno
art
Skinner.
dealer.
Right.
Arts and antiquities. And then he works his way upstairs. What'd you think of that shot? We were talking about that shot, the overhead boom shot.
When he crawls out the window to
The bird's eye view.
Yeah, and he scales up the it's-
Balcony or
no,
trellis.
It wasn't a trellis. It was like the stone work.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that shot. And you see the guard and the dog down below.
Yeah.
It was a good angle.
Gets in and he wants to clone the hard drive. So they use 1993, 94 technology to clone the hard drive.
So why did he have to? Why did Tassel have to break into it? Why don't they just make a copy of it and they could break into it at their own leisure?
Maybe for future use. So if there's anything new entered in, he's already got access into. He's got a back door.
Maybe he's.
Or maybe that's all he was giving them. Maybe Harry wasn't. He was just giving them access. He was giving them internet.
But he left that equipment sitting on the desk.
Exactly. So I'm thinking it was like a modem.
Well, I'm also thinking that what if Harry
Put
didn't
some
make it back?
Wi-Fi in
They
that
at least have
bitch.
access to the computer.
Anyway,
Remote access.
Then he comes out and he says he has to take a major leak.
Right. In perfect Arabic, by the way. Right. That's what the subtitles tells you.
One more little nugget of making him James Bond.
Yeah. Like he's the man.
Yes.
There's another moment in this film that up until last night I kind of forgot about, but it's actually a really good moment. We'll get there.
Yeah, we're learning at this point that he is a super secret agent. He's like the best they have.
Yeah, well, we keep saying James Bond, right? So you kind of have to put that image into your head. But it's
Sure.
kind of funny because, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Yep.
right? So he puts the cloning device or the modem on the computer. Then he leaves, walks back downstairs, trying to get an exit strategy.
People are starting to follow him at this
Yeah,
point.
people are starting to ask questions. So what does he do? He naturally
The ice is found outside, broken ice.
the broken ice.
Yes. But he was it found before or after he does the dance?
Right at the same time.
Right at the same
Yes.
time.
Well, they find the broken ice. They set off an alarm, and then we see guys in the suits with the guns come walking through, and that's when Arnold notices them, and then he looks at the sculpture,
Yeah.
right, and then he says, "Oh, this is lovely," and then that's where he meets Juno Skinner aka Tia Carrera, also known from
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
That's where I know her
Wayne's
from.
World. Excellent.
That's Cassandra.
Mhm.
Yeah, very good. They start talking about the sculpture, more guard activity, and then Harry hears the intro to the
Tango.
the tango, asks her if she tangos, and then we get a tango scene.
Of all the scenes in the movie, this and the ending one, Arnold Schwarzenegger said was the toughest and he had to do the most training, was learning to do the tango.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
6 months.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's an interesting way to show the audience that he's trying to avoid. He's actually doing a dance with
This is an
the
evasion
bad
tactic.
guys.
Yes,
right?
he's doing a dance that's putting a spotlight on them because they're the best ones on the dance floor.
Yeah,
But yet he's trying to hide from everybody.
right. But what I'm also saying is that he's actually doing a dance with the guys that are looking for him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he's trying to maneuver in a certain way, just like he is when he's dancing. So they're all performing a sort of a dance. He eventually gets out, at least outside, and then his partner asks him, "What's your exit strategy?" And what does Arnold say?
Out the front door.
Out the front door. So he walks out front. One of the guards asks him for his invitation, and then he holds up whatever he was.
I've got it right here.
Yeah, presses a button, a bomb goes off, and chaos ensues.
Yes. All hell breaks loose.
Yes.
I love the scene because everything's frozen, iced over, of Tom Arnold driving the van along that road that they're just slip sliding all over the place.
Are you talking about when they cut back into the van and he kind of just seems to be steering the steering wheel like it's no big deal, but then when it cuts out, the van's almost the van's almost sideways. Yeah, that's great acting, Tom Arnold. Thanks for that.
What do you think of the pairing of the back and forth between Arnold and Tom Arnold
And Arnold Schwarzenegger?
and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I think in 94 they were trying to make Tom Arnold a name.
I read that when he went to try out for this movie, he didn't expect to even get a part. One, he just wanted to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger
Right.
and James Cameron.
Right.
And two, he was just going for a bit part. He thought maybe he would just get cast on the side. He didn't realize that they would throw him into this position.
Well, he's a fast talker.
Yeah.
And he has good comedic timing.
I thought he did great at it.
Yeah, I mean, he was fine.
Mhm.
He was a good comic relief too. I mean, it's better that he cracks the jokes than Arnold cracks the jokes. So they take out the two last guards. They get in the van. I think we can still make our flight. Then we cut to the plane landing. And then we cut to him getting home.
Well, is this where Tom Arnold starts giving him back all of his
Yeah, they're
home life stuff?
Yeah,
Or is that when he gets home?
Yeah.
No, they're
It's in
parked
front of his
outside
house.
they're
Mhm.
parked outside his
Yeah.
house. He gives them they have these big bags.
It's like a
Here's Harry
debrief.
Runquist's life, and then here's
Terry
Terry Tasker's.
Tasker.
So we meet Jamie Lee Curtis for the first time. She's in bed because Arnold's getting home at who knows ungodly hour,
From his sales conference.
right, from his sales conference. So he wakes up. Then Tom Arnold comes over, has this new tech. He's wearing sunglasses.
He's got the little cigarette pack that is a little mini camera he puts on the fireplace.
Hey, man, I remember the first time I got shot out of a cannon.
Yeah. We meet Arnold and Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter for the first time. Dana.
And what did you think of Dana right off the bat? Oh, cool, snow globe, and then poof, right in the garbage bin.
Yeah, well,
Kind of a little snot.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
absentee father is what the impression I got.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
so Dana rips off
Gibb.
Tom Arnold's
Steals
character.
money out of his jacket.
Yeah, and Arnold sees this through these cool tech glasses. Goes running after her. She gets on a motorcycle, and then we get
Then we go to
Gibb.
the office.
Yeah, well, yeah. Then we get Gibb and Arnold's kind of relationship building, letting us know who they are,
Yeah.
what they do.
But we also get the impression before that, when Jamie Lee Curtis is talking to Arnold about his sales conference, that she has no clue. As far as she knows, he's a computer salesman.
And he's got a wicked smart story.
Yeah, I mean, he's just talking about how excited he is about the new system that can bring up all kinds of information out of the database. And The wife and the daughter
It's in the title, man.
have no clue, and this is the true lies, as you're saying.
That's what the title is all about. It is a true lie.
So they get to the office. What'd you think of the...
I loved the thud of the security door in the white hallway closing.
right. I was thinking, how big is this building?
It felt very Men in Black to me.
Yeah, but this was first.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying maybe Men in Black was inspired by going
probably.
through all the doors and then going through the scanners.
I felt like it was in a building like you would see downtown, right? And they had to take an elevator to go up to where they were going. And then they walk, and that door was in the middle of a hallway, right? I mean, it wasn't really a door. So they use a key, they get in, and then there's a long hallway going the opposite direction of what we were just walking in. Right. So I'm thinking to myself, how big is this building? And then they go through the scanner, which I thought that x-ray scanner thing. And they're like, hi.
Very 90s.
Yeah. Very 90s. What was the gal's name? Dolores.
She grabs the gun underneath the table as they go to do their, was it the eye scanner?
Yeah. The eye and
It's Janice.
Oh, look at you. Good job. And that's why we call him the professor.
They go through the room with the shotgun.
And then we see the Omega.
Oh, right. And who is the Omega?
Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston. Because he was the Omega Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spencer Tribley, I guess, or Trilby,
Trilby.
which was modeled after Nick Fury from Marvel Comics.
Oh, was he really?
Even with the one eye patch and everything.
Wow. That's awesome.
Head of a secret organization.
Yeah.
Right.
Secret government organization.
So they have to give a debrief of what's going on. Charlton Heston's character doesn't seem too impressed. He wants results.
He wants proof. He wants
proof.
something physical,
So
not
the-
just
so-
the stories.
So there's a cash transaction from Facil. That's the data that they recovered. And Juno Skinner.
Mm-hmm.
Aha.
But they bring up like, $2 million or something like that, what it was. And well, he buys art all the time. But something about that purchase, that seemed like a big purchase for a quick amount of time. What was the thing that they pointed out?
I don't remember.
Mhm.
And I just watched it yesterday.
On DVD.
Oh my God. Can we talk about that for a second?
You want to?
No.
We should save that for later.
All right. And so we're in the offices still. They want to start following Juno Skinner. So he sets up a meeting. But first...
Reality check.
Reality check. Helen calls or...
No, Harry Rehnquist
Harry Wenquist.
in the limousine. Okay, reality check. Now we're in the limousine. Who are you? My name is Harry Rehnquist.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
He goes through his cover story.
Right.
Yep.
He goes through his cover story because they go to see Juno.
Who has no idea at this point.
Right. They start talking about art or whatever it is that they are talking about.
Very flirty.
Yeah.
And she seems to be the boss of the place. When we
Right.
go in back, we see the antiquities that are being unpacked. She yells at the workers to get back to work.
Mm-hmm. Harry leaves. And then we meet our true villain of the film.
Aziz.
Is it Salim Abu Aziz?
Yeah, but they call him Aziz.
Aziz, yes, they call him Aziz.
Comes in and he slaps Juno. Something fierce. Twice.
Yep.
She says, "You're lucky you're paying me a whole lot of money."
And basically he slaps her because at this point in their whatever they're putting together, whatever they're planning, they don't want any loose ends. They don't want anybody coming in, and they don't know anything about this Harry Rehnquist, who could be a spy or could be onto them. But at this point, Juno doesn't think so.
Yeah, and she was the boss. All of a sudden, her last line is, "What would you like me to do?" Completely docile to him.
But we know that they are on to Harry.
And then from there, they start taking the breadcrumbs that the Omega sector has laid out for them. Okay, now we're being tailed, and we get to the mall.
Well on the way, though, we find out that Jamie Lee Curtis, Helen, and the daughter are setting up for Harry's birthday at home.
They're going to have a birthday celebration. And she's like, "You're going to make it this time, right?" And he's like, "I promise."
100%.
100%. And he doesn't because they get trailed. And now we're at the mall. And this is where the glasses and cigarette video camera trick come into play.
Yes. because they follow him to the bathroom. He's got 2 people trailing him with Aziz sitting in the car.
Yeah.
And Tom Arnold's character sitting in the car while Arnold Schwarzenegger leads them through the mall to a bathroom and puts the cigarettes on a shelf.
Right. And then he proceeds to kick the shit out of these 2 guys. And once he Arnolds it all up, Aziz comes in, tries to shoot him with a machine gun, but misses. And then Aziz turns around and runs.
Man, there's a big chase scene.
And then we have a big chase scene. And so the chase is on, and Aziz gets a motorcycle really quick, like you were saying, takes off, and Arnold commandeers a horse.
A police horse.
A police horse.
Federal agent in pursuit.
Yeah, and then he pulls him down, gets on, and starts falling by horseback.
Yes. As they go down the streets, into a hotel, through the lobby. They used apparently 4 different horses from what I read.
Oh, really?
To film the scene because each horse was trained for a different aspect of the chase.
Well, that makes sense because they were outside and then they're inside. And then at one point, they're in a fucking elevator. Arnold takes the horse up the elevator to the top floor.
One of my favorite lines happens here where the wife, basically Arnold comes in the elevator and he kind of presses these 2 older couple against the wall in the elevator. And the wife looks over at the husband. It was after the button. The wife looks over and says, "Are you going to say something?" And what does he say? Something like, "Nice horse"? Or
Yeah.
That's a fine horse.
That's a fine horse. Yeah, because Arnold kind of comes up and goes, "Can you press the roof, please?"
Yeah, he's so polite about it too.
Yeah.
Can you press the button for the top floor, please?
Yeah. So he takes it up there. And
all the while they're having the little eye thing going on.
Right, because Aziz gets on an elevator with a motorcycle.
And takes a hostage.
And he takes a hostage. Mm-hmm. He gets on a fucking elevator with a fucking motorcycle.
This scene...
It's a bit much.
Tell me did you think about this, the scene? He's got the motorcycle kind of going there. The elevator's doors close. How quickly would that elevator fill up with carbon monoxide that they'd be passing out or at least getting sick?
Not only that, but the motorcycle and the 2 participants, way too heavy for that elevator.
Pretty damn good elevator.
Yeah, must be. So it takes him up to the top floor. Aziz hits the gas. And he gets out first and he hits the gas and he jumps from roof to roof and happens just to land on, in a swimming pool on the top of a roof. And Arnold sees this and he wants to jump the horse. So he gets ready for his wind-up, starts heading for the ledge, getting ready to jump, and the horse puts on the brakes, and of course he goes flying over the horse, and then there's that cute little moment where he's telling the horse to back up.
Do you know the story behind this horse scene?
I have no idea.
The story is, and Arnold, I guess, just a few years later told us in an interview, there was a very small amount of space that the horse had to operate in to kind of do this charge towards the ledge of the hotel. And I guess one of the mic booms came down and hit the horse on the nose, causing it to freak out and start kind of jumping up and down and kicking and all that kind of stuff. Arnold quickly tried to jump off and got grabbed by one of the handlers who held him as he almost fell off the side of the building.
Wow.
So if that guy had not grabbed him at that time, he might have gone over the ledge. Or if he had not jumped off, the horse probably would have bucked him off the side of the building.
Yeah. A fascinating story.
And then we get the horse smiling at him as he's trying to get the horse to back up.
Right. He finally gets to his feet, and I like what he says to him. What kind of cop are you?
We were chasing the bad guy. We almost had him.
They got away because of you.
Yeah. He blames
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Arnold, being Arnold. Again, showing just kind of what a badass he is, right?
What are you thinking at this point of our bad guy, Aziz, of the casting of him, which was played by Art Malik?
Oh, I thought it was fine.
I guess
I didn't pay too much attention to it.
I guess they always knew they wanted him for this movie. He didn't even have to audition for the movie.
Oh, really?
They just gave him the part.
So he gets away.
And
Harry's late for dinner. Helen's waiting for him when he gets home. Feels bad.
And so we can see there's trouble in paradise here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trouble in their marriage.
Yeah. So we get
this isn't the first time he's messed up.
Yeah, he's the absentee, as we talked earlier, the absentee father, the absentee husband.
Yep.
Yeah, when Gib calls home, hey, Harry forgot something at the office, and then Helen is like, okay, I understand. And then what does Dana say?
I don't remember what she said.
See?
Yeah, she expected it.
Yeah, she knew it was coming. So next day, they're at the office again, and Arnold wants to swing by Helen's work, take her to lunch, make up for being a shit. Goes to the office, overhears.
As he's walking down the cubicles, he stops short before she sees him, and he overhears her talking about
Simon, having lunch with Simon. So this leads Arnold to think that Helen is having an affair with this guy named Simon.
Comes back out, almost gets hit by a bus.
Oh, that's right. And
and then Gibbs like, hey, fucker, what is it? Helen. Yeah. Helen. Yeah, it has something to do with Helen. Helen. Yeah. What about Helen?
Helen's having an affair.
and then he says,
Helen is having an affair.
Welcome to the club, man. Nobody thinks it can happen to them the first time, buddy. Same exact thing happened to me with wife number 2. Remember? I had no idea nothing's going on, right? I come home one day and the house is completely empty. And I mean completely empty. She even took the ice cube trays out of the freezer. What kind of a sick bitch takes the ice cube trays out of the freezer?
good moment. So then where do we go?
Well, good moment for us, bad moment for Harry.
Yeah, who he thinks his world is crumbling. So they go home. He asks Helen, or he tells her, I stopped by your work today, take you to lunch, you weren't there. She tells him she had to go make a delivery or something.
Now Helen tells a true lie.
Yeah, now she's the liar telling about some story. Was it fixing a copier or was it delivery?
It was a print job, and their copier was broken.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Then we go to...
is this where we go back to Tom Arnold and Harry? Is this where he starts saying, I want her bugged, I want her phone cloned, I want her followed.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so now he gets all Omega Branch sector clearance stuff.
Breaking all the rules.
Wife. Yeah.
And so then steals her purse, dumps it out to Gib, and then the bugs are planted. And then from there, we're following Helen.
Right. And so now Helen makes contact with Simon, played brilliantly by Bill Paxton. Paxton?
Yeah.
He's a used car salesman who is posing as a spy.
He poses as a spy, kind of the opposite of Harry, which Harry's a spy posing as a salesman, and Simon is posing, as a salesman posing as a spy.
Where do we get the intro of those two characters, Helen and Simon?
They come later when she's being...
when she's being interrogated.
And she's being interrogated.
Right.
She tells about this first time she met Simon.
Right.
But at this point, Harry figures out who Simon is.
Because he's taking credit for their work.
Yeah, he figures out... At first, they think he's a spook, that he is just spy just like them. But then he starts telling this out of the newspaper article. Did you see what happened in the newspaper? That was me.
Oh, you recognize my work.
He's like, he's taking credit for our game.
Yeah, he goes, they're all, this guy's bogus. He's taking credit for our work.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But yes, we have to kill him.
Yeah. Right. Because,
I'm starting to like
Helen.
Yeah, I'm starting to like this guy. But yeah, we're going to have to kill him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because he's rooting for him. Poor Harry. So they meet. Simon asks Helen to go on a mission. Is that the same day that him and...
No, I don't think he had brought this up at this point.
Not yet.
Because that's when they capture Helen and they capture Simon. Here, she's just having a conversation with him, and so Harry then goes to see him at the
car dealership.
At the dealership.
Because, in fact, he is a used car salesman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who drives a really nice Corvette.
Yeah. And like, as soon as he pulls in, he takes the sales sticker, puts it right back on the windshield.
What's he say? Something about
a sucker born
every minute.
Yeah. And then
he thinks that Arnold's going to be an easy sell.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where we get Arnold talking to Bill Paxton when they take their first test drive.
Let's face it, Harry. The vet gets him wet. But it's not enough. If you really want to close escrow, well, you gotta have an angle.
Suppose you have an angle.
It's killer. I mean, look at me. I'm not that much to look at. No, I can be honest. But I got them lining up. And not just the skanks either.
Not just the skanks either.
Which means he does do the skanks.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so Arnold starts asking him, do you have one now? And he starts describing Helen and that fantasy or that daydream Arnold has.
Well, I thought it was funny at first. I like how they did is he talks about this game that he has this special trick that he does on the women. And Arnold's like, well, what do you do? And he goes, oh, I'm not going to give you that big secret. And then the very next scene, okay, here's what I do.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He tells him about pretending to be a spy and that these are bored housewives. And,
Harry and Helen have a lot to thank for Simon. If it weren't for Simon, their marriage would eventually erode and be gone. And the family would be broken, right? Because by the end of the movie, what we have is all because of Simon.
So, who are you working on right now?
I always got a couple on the hook, There's this one right now. I got her pinned like a dog. It's great.
What does she do?
Some sort of legal secretary or something. Uptight and conservative. Oh, but she could be so hot if she wanted to be.
And with you, she gets to be real hot, huh?
Red hot.
Yeah.
Her thighs steam. It's like a dying plant, just needs a little water. Married to some boring jerk.
Married to some boring jerk.
Yeah, he doesn't appreciate her. She's like all these babes. You get their pilot lit, they can start a leaf blower. Oh, God, she's got the most incredible body and a pair of titties make you want to stand up and beg for buttermilk. Ass like a 10-year-old boy.
Ass like a 10-year-old boy.
I love the little fantasy he has about just punching him and killing him in one shot.
Yeah, he just breaks his nose. Again, showing what a badass Arnold is.
But that didn't really happen.
Right, so it was kind of a flashback.
It was a great little moment. And then, oh, no way. Oh, that's hilarious.
But the thing I was wondering is, would you want a woman with an ass like a 10-year-old boy?
I love that line.
I don't get that line. Maybe I'm just clueless.
But all of this, Harry has to hear because he is completely tuned out on his wife. And because of everything that Simon says, it reawakens his thoughts about his wife. And this drives Harry to be insane and abuse all of the privileges of his job to follow his wife, to surveil her, and eventually, potentially, jeopardize his job because he gets a team to go out and follow and do a mission.
Tom Arnold, I think at this point too, and I don't know if it's right before this or it's after this, throws it right out into Arnold's face that what do you expect? You're never there. You're always leaving them in a lurch. So of course she's going to go seek solace in someone else. Yeah, she's a flesh and blood woman.
Right.
So I think it hits him just like you're saying that he hasn't been there and that he needs to pay her more attention.
Mm-hmm. And he's reminded about all of the things about her.
He's also a little vengeful at this point, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, so Simon asks Helen to go to Paris, or no, they have their meeting, right? And this is where Simon is asking Helen to go away to Paris with them. He's even got the tickets, right? But she never looked at the date, or the month, or
he could have had an airport friend of his just print the tickets.
I know,
airline friend.
But I mean, think of that's the long con, man. Yeah. He went and got tickets.
Yeah,
they were sitting on a folder on his kitchen area, so she would see him. Which, I mean, he put a lot of thought into this.
It's not the first time he's done this scam.
This is not his first rodeo. So this is where he kind of comes on to her, and
we have to act like a married couple. Show me how you would act with me as a married couple.
Right. And then he takes her back to his place, which is a mobile home. And then
his place in the city is too hot.
Yeah, right.
His place and the condo
in New York.
Yeah.
He has a place in New York too. Right. Yeah. And then when they're driving out of town, she has to put his head in his lap, and the chopper surveillance is like, oh yeah.
I love that moment.
Yeah, her head's definitely down there.
Yeah.
And so that just enrages Harry even more.
I think the line was, yeah, she's got her head in his lap. Yahoo! Did you know that was James Cameron?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was actually a line from James Cameron.
Yeah,
but
pretty good.
But we got to give Helen some credit though. When she's in there and he kind of jumps on top of her or starts kissing her, she pushes him off and throws him down and says she can't do this.
Yeah.
She obviously loves Harry.
Right. And as she's saying that she can't do this, half of the mobile home just comes apart.
Yeah, the whole back half just breaks off.
Right. So in come the agency guys,
all masked up.
You can hear Arnold's voice and Gibbs' voice. They pick up Helen.
I love
and
Simon.
she fights back. Fights back, and then she kicks Tom Arnold in the balls.
Yeah,
and one of the other agents hits her in the back of the head with a gun, and then Arnold hits that dude.
Yeah, he punches that dude. But I loved Simon during this. Did you hear what Simon was saying during the whole time?
What's that?
Take her, let me go, take her.
Oh, that's funny. So then we come to the interrogation part.
But I love the moment, the helicopter shot as it's wrapping up, and Gibb is son of a,
and he's walking very gingerly through the scene to the light.
Yeah, good stuff.
That was great comic relief there.
Yeah, good stuff.
But then we get to the dam. Is that the next scene?
No.
With Bill Paxton, or was it the interrogation of Helen first? It might have been the interrogation of Helen first.
Regardless, which one you want to talk about first?
I think it's the interrogation with
where they basically put her in a room with a big mirror. They're on the other side of the mirror. They have their voice disguised. They're asking her a lot of questions, which seem very pointed questions. Do you love your husband? Have you had sex with Simon? And did you know that, they call him Simon the Fox?
No, it was Carlos.
Oh, Carlos.
The Jackal?
Carlos the Jackal, that he's an international terrorist. And these are the good guys who have captured her, is the impression they're trying to give. And that she's been helping this terrorist. They give her the offer if she's got to work with them. But first, they get her to admit that she's never had sex with Simon and that she still loves her husband. And they basically threaten that if she doesn't come work with them, then she's going to basically they're going to send her to jail, and that'll ruin the lives of Harry and Dana.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got no choice.
As much as I enjoy the movie, I found this scene to be incredibly cruel to do to his wife. I mean, I just to frighten his wife like that, I just thought was just so cruel.
But I guess Jamie Lee Curtis said this was one of the most fun scenes to do because she really got to show her acting chops in it.
And I thought that she was really strong here, and her character is really very convincible in how she portrays herself. And I give full credit to Jamie Lee for that, because she was very strong.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely a powerful scene for Jamie Lee.
We get a great impression here of why she got hooked up with Simon in the first place, because she's bored and she's never she's never impacted anything in her life that she'll be able to look back on and say, I did that.
Yeah. And that was really important to her.
Yeah.
Right. So, and they do, and this is kind of a cruel scene. I mean, for him to do this to her.
It's bad enough that he's stalking her.
Right. And I love what Gibbs 2 cents always, right? So your husband's not doing it for you, lady, anymore, huh?
Right. He keeps chiming in with a couple of those.
Right. Yeah. And,
so he's not exactly ringing your bell.
That's what it is. He's not ringing your bell. Arnold finally, asks her, do you still love your husband? And she says yes. And then he gets this bright idea, which doesn't make Tom Arnold feel too good. He already thinks that Arnold Schwarzenegger's gone too far, right? abusing the power he has.
Yeah, but he's going to give her an adventure.
Yep. So they say the only way out of this, Mrs. Tasker, is for you to work for us. And so go home, wait for your call. Codename Boris and Doris, and they let her go. And then now they have to deal with Simon. They take Simon up to the dam. They're holding him.
That is a great scene.
Yeah. They're telling him, all right, Carlos, we know you're this international drug lord. You're about to get it.
And that's a great camera shot, up high, and we see them, over the dam like that.
Yeah. And then finally,
This is one of the Bill Paxton's best scenes, I think, in the whole movie.
oh yeah, if not probably the best. And so now they have him on the dam. They're going to have him. He basically
He's standing there in his
confesses.
underwear.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not a spy. I'm nothing. I'm naval lint. I have to lie to women to get laid, and I don't score much. I got a little dick. It's pathetic. Oh, God. Oh, would a spy pee himself, huh? Huh? Oh, God.
I love how Harry and Gibbs are just trying to hold it together at this point. They
Yeah,
look like
'cause
they're
they
about to
know.
lose it.
Yeah.
They're enjoying themselves.
Right.
Enjoying
So this
themselves
is-
a lot.
And they both kind of look down as he's peeing himself.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so we're done with Simon. We go back to the Taskers. Harry's all grinning ear to ear because he
But-
knows.
Before they go back to the Taskers, I love the part where they introduce the classic spy movie element of they tell the guy he can go. And he's like, no, you're going to shoot me in the back as soon as I go. And they're like, just go.
Get lost, dipshit.
He's like, you're going to shoot me. And so Gibbs shoots a few bullets in the ground and just, what's he say?
Get lost, dipshit.
Yeah. And so then they drive off and
And then
leave
they
him out in the
drive
middle of nowhere.
And then it's back to the Taskers for another dinner.
Yes.
So how was your flat tire?
It was scary.
Doesn't he say, how was your flat tire last night?
Yeah.
So they go through
The whole
a
day.
whole day
I
without
thought the
talking.
exact same thing. They get up in the morning and they didn't see each other. What about when he got home? Why did you?
Well,
why
he may
did you
get up early and go to work.
Yeah, but okay, but you get home. So he came home and sat down at the dinner table immediately, and that's their first second to talk.
Well, you have to remember that she may have. So we're talking about the night before, right? That's where this all goes down. So she gets home late. She goes to bed. They don't talk. Okay, maybe.
But in the morning,
But he was just there too. So he's not. Who gets home first? Her or him?
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
And
I
then
would guess he probably got the head start because they could have released her at any time.
And they drop her off back at her car.
and it doesn't necessarily need to be them. Maybe Tom Arnold.
Yeah.
But Arnold
Yeah.
could leave, right? Okay, so I'll give you that. He Arnold gets home first, goes to bed, so maybe he hears her come in, maybe he doesn't, which is fine. But you're telling me that next morning they didn't talk to each other?
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, he knows the whole story, so he's not going to want to talk to her until the dinner anyway because he's got to do the setup.
But an insensitive husband.
Yeah, well, we already know he's a
wife's
jerk
car, flat tire. She's fine.
Yeah, how come he didn't go help her?
because she didn't call him.
Well, then who'd she call?
I don't know, but
That's why her story falls apart.
because the tow truck took a really long time.
Tow trucks do take a long time.
Did they have cell phones?
Yes,
Yeah, they
they
had
do.
cell phones in '94.
Oh, fuck. I don't know. I was 1 year out of high school.
When did I go to work at
Wait.
Verizon Wireless?
Lethal Weapon came out in 91.
Did they have the brick
Lethal
phones?
Weapon?
Lethal Weapon,
The first one.
the first one,
86.
86. 86. This is 94. Yeah, there's cell phones.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, not the small ones. So she probably wouldn't have had one at that time.
Probably
is what
not,
I'm getting at.
Oh, that's right. We see Arnold. We see Gibb fold up his cell phone. I'm going to hell for this.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because who's he call?
He calls Helen a second time where he gives her instructions.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
He's
When
being
her going
Boris
on
or
her,
something.
going on her,
Her mission.
going
Yeah.
on her mission. Yeah. Okay. So they give her an assignment. She has to go drop a bug to what appears to be a very bad man. And now we get to the hotel scene.
She has to go and pretend to be a prostitute who only has to dance for the guy because he only likes to look. And while she's doing that, she has to plant a bug. And once she does that, she'll be free of them. She won't have to do anything else.
Right.
Boy, that is some training that they give her too. Plant the bug.
Well, I love this whole scene. She comes in with this dress that looks like, mom who's, chaperoning a dance or something. And then just rips it up, and all of a sudden it's a super sexy dress.
Well, don't forget the water she takes out of the flower vase.
The vase and puts it on her hair.
It is quite the transformation.
See what ripping your clothes and a little bit of water will do?
Yeah. And then the lipstick and all that.
Yeah. So she goes into the room.
It's really dark
It's really dark. We see a figure sitting in a chair,
in the shadows.
but it doesn't have. It has a European voice or an exotic voice.
Mm-hmm.
So can't be Arnold, right?
It looks like Arnold. I mean, there
Totally
was no,
looks like
there's
Arnold. How
no
does she
doubt.
not see him?
It's just this big guy.
I don't know.
And the whole time he's holding his hand over his face, like, you know.
I'm shielding myself. You can't recognize me.
Right.
Yeah, and he's got this old tape recorder that he's just pushing the button.
Where's
And
the
it's
volume
always-
coming out of?
It's always on the right spot every time.
And how does he
Cinema magic.
all right, like when he says
Take off your nylons.
and she says, I'm not wearing any. And he's like, oh shit.
No, and he's like, oh, and the recorder's like, good.
Yeah. Like she did it.
Okay, so
And where does the sound come out of?
Well, tape recorder would have played it, but it would sound like a tape recording. If you heard tape recorders back then, they always kind of had a hiss to them.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, question.
Hmm.
What did you think? What did you think of Jamie's dance the first time you saw it?
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was really well done. I guess Arnold, in a conversation with his wife asked, did he enjoy that scene? He said he hated every minute of it.
No, he said he hated every hour of it.
Every hour of it.
I thought that dance was incredible, and I was watching the movie with Maggie at the time, and I felt a little embarrassed sitting next to her watching that dance because
How cute is that?
I felt guilty. It's like that dance is just like, oh my gosh, it was incredible.
Well, I love the part where she falls off the banister.
And that was totally by accident.
Well,
No, it was not.
It ended up
Really?
It was her idea. She showed it to James Cameron because I guess she had done this dance many times for James Cameron ahead of time, but Arnold had not seen that dance yet. Harry Tasker had not seen it, and he didn't know she was going to fall off the banister. So when he gets up real quick, that's him breaking character.
Oh, right.
And then he realized, it's all part of the thing. So he sits back down real quick. But
She's up like a flash.
Yeah.
I heard it slightly different. I heard that it was Cameron's idea for the fall to happen.
Yeah.
And Jamie didn't want to do it because it was out of the character of who she was needing to be at that moment. And Cameron was insistent that the fall would be in there and it would work better for the story.
Yeah. I thought it worked great because it still told us she's not this super sexy spy at this point.
Exactly.
She is still this housewife who's trying to be more than what she knows. And I love the fact that they didn't tell Arnold ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that scene overall, one of the best scenes in the movie because you're thinking she does this great dance. He was only supposed to watch. And then he changes the rules. He gets up there, tells her to lay on the bed. I almost felt a little creepy at this point.
Yeah.
I got to say, he is fucked. What are you doing?
Yeah, because she thinks she's about to get attacked by this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does he think that this is romantic?
How is it going to play out?
Yeah.
He's going to have a ton of explaining to do to her.
Yeah, I was convinced at this point that he was going to reveal this is really him. And then he was going to say, oh, well, they contacted me and they actually decided they wanted to try to get us back together. They wanted to work on our marriage. I have some friends who work in the computer agency at this big spy place, and they helped me out.
That's what you thought?
I thought maybe that's how I could tell the story of it. and convinced it that this wasn't going to be, a sexual assault at this point.
Well, it was shaping up to be something like that.
I thought it was going to play out
But-
horribly.
But she handled it pretty well.
But and that's where I was going with it, right? He comes in for a kiss. First, he does this creepy thing with the rose.
Yeah.
I mean, she's already probably terrified.
'Cause
And you
she-
got to think that she's terrified. And you're the one putting her in this situation.
She even says to him, I thought you only like to look.
Right. And then then that recording.
Yeah, he plays it over again. Lay down.
Yeah. And what's funny is that's the part where he rewinds it and then stops it at the
And I'm
exact spot.
That's his spy training.
At this
Yeah.
moment, I have completely forgotten about the previous storyline, and I thought that the action of the movie was now behind us, and the story had transitioned into something different. It was all about him and Helen. That's where I was the first time I saw the movie.
Interesting.
And a sexual assault.
Upcoming.
Yeah.
I mean, that was so he goes in for the kiss and she grabs one of the old rotary phones.
Oh, and
Oh
that thing
my
looked
gosh.
heavy and hard.
Might
And
as well
it
have been
sounded like it.
should have been a frying pan, or it could have been a frying pan.
Yeah, so she knocks the shit out of him repeatedly with this thing.
She even goes back to hit it or to kick him.
Yeah.
While he's already down.
Hurt him while he's down.
Yeah.
And then she plants the bug, and then just as she's leaving, he gets to his knees and he's all
Helen, it's me.
And before she can even comprehend or understand what's going on, she looks at him briefly and she says, Harry? And then at that moment, the door gets kicked in and in come our bad guys.
And
So
then we get to the airplane.
Yes, they're taken prisoner and put on the plane. So
Oh, this is where Juno Skinner's character comes back up. She's at the airfield waiting for Harry and Helen to get there. And I think at this point, Helen's still trying to understand what the fuck is going on.
well, she thinks
Oh, that's right.
she
As
thinks
they're-
that they're here for her and that Harry's just being dragged along. And some reason she doesn't figure out why he was there, but he's being involved in it, and it's because of her that they've been captured.
she thinks it's because of her.
Yeah, she
Yes.
thinks
Right,
it's
yeah,
because
yeah.
of her.
Because I love that line as they're getting pulled out of the hotel room. She's all, Harry, will you let me handle this, please?
And he's like, she's a crazy prostitute. Leave her alone.
yeah,
Let her go.
yeah. He knows what's going on. And this is actually kind of brings us pretty close to one of the scenes I was talking about. So then they get taken to the airfield. They see Juno Skinner. They get onto the, or no, Juno
Lear-
sees
Lear
them, right, the jet. And then she starts, talking to Harry like, who is this lady?
She talks to him like Harry Rainquist.
Rehnquist. Jamie Lee Curtis is like, I'm Helen Tasker. I'm his wife. Who are you, bitch? She's like, she doesn't know, does she? And then Arnold always comes back with the, she's a crazy prostitute, or she's a drunk bitch, or
yeah,
she's
crazy bitch.
He always comes with that comment way after the fact. Like you've already admitted that that's your wife. You've already accepted that that's, because Jamie Lee Curtis will say something, and there'll be a long pause, or there'll be a couple of moments, and then Arnold will say, she's a crazy bitch. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Is it on the plane that she opens up the lock
Yeah.
to show?
Oh, and if
Yeah.
we're not married, then how do you explain this?
Yeah.
And you can just see the look at him like, oh my God, you're
Yeah,
not
she-
getting it.
Yep, she's just giving it all up. But luckily for him, Helen's bag or purse was bugged.
Yes.
Installed
So-
with a tracker.
So now there's a tracker out there, so at least Harry's agency can track him and come save the day.
But we don't know
when
that
it's
at this
If you didn't know that at this point going into this movie, then
Well,
I don't
what
know
I
if that'll
didn't, why I didn't know this at this point is when they grabbed Harry and they grabbed Helen, I never saw her. Maybe I missed it. I never saw her grab her purse. I thought they just rushed him out of the hotel room. Why would they grab her purse?
Because it was on her shoulder. She
Was
was
it?
leaving.
she was on her way out the door, remember?
Oh, okay. So she grabbed it on her way out after
Right.
she beat the heck out of Harry.
Right. So her jacket was even half on, or
Oh,
maybe
okay.
even all the way on. I don't remember.
Okay, so I'm wrong.
They're taken to the evil bad guy's lair, which is in Florida,
Aziz.
and they
The name of the terrorist group is
something
Crimson
Jihad.
Crimson Jihad.
So yeah, they are taken to the bad guy's secret hideout. Aziz has first they see the four horsemen, or the four statues.
Destroyed.
Just
This
so
revealed
if
that's
the-
how they're smoggling the
nuclear weapons
Oh,
in.
All right. So, do you know what this is? Yeah, I know what this is. It's an espresso machine.
espresso machine. It's a snow cone maker.
No. Snow cone maker.
And this is where the leader of the Crimson Jihad is telling Arnold, or asking Arnold, to recognize what they're looking at, which is the warhead, right? And I love the look on Helen's face.
He doesn't
As-
know what this is.
Yeah.
He's a computer salesman.
Right. So she's like, what the fuck is going on? We're going to die. Right. And then there's that moment.
when Aziz rests his forehead against Helen's forehead in a little moment of satisfaction when Harry finally explains what it is.
Well, Harry has to come to the realization that he has to.
Yes.
Right. And so he
It's a water heater.
he keeps going on. And then what Aziz threatens to
Puts a knife
blow
to her
him.
throat. Or
Oh yeah. He puts a knife to Jamie Lee Curtis's throat, and then something clicks, and Arnold becomes the badass again.
It's a thermonuclear something,
blah
something,
blah blah
something,
blah
something.
blah blah, and then in,
Plutonium with uranium 14.5. Yeah.
and then in their language, he says, "Now release her. I'll cooperate."
Yeah.
And at that point, she doesn't know, and that's him. That's him pretty much coming out to her.
Is
Yeah,
that where
right.
he looks at it and goes, "I'm a spy"?
What can I say?
What can I say?
I'm a spy.
I'm a spy.
And then right there, Helen is in complete free fall. Complete free fall. She doesn't know what to make of anything anymore.
Yep. And then she lets him have it.
She punches him right in the face.
And then
Another badass moment for
Yeah.
Helen. You know, when she
it's a
kicks
slap.
when she
not a
kicks
punch.
Simon off of her, she fights back and kicks Simon off of her, and then she hauls off and belts her husband right in the face.
Well, I love the look that they gave her in the beginning of the movie, like this housewife who works, as a paralegal or whatever, who looks all innocent, but she can throw a punch.
Yeah. Well, shit, dude. She fought Michael Myers like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
She's the shit.
Well, that was when she was younger and just being a babysitter.
Right. But still, she beat Michael Myers.
Yeah, he's
No.
not much.
Not shit. Kick Jason's
I'll
ass.
say he's no Jason.
Oh, he'd kick Jason's ass.
How do you
Yeah.
think you guys would hold up in a torture situation? Would you cry like a baby? Would you try to hold out?
You know that scene in Deadpool 2 where Cable's about to interrogate
Oh, TJ Miller.
TJ Miller, and he goes, "I'm going to bend something until it breaks. You don't have to do all that. Yeah, I'm just going to tell you right where they are."
Right. That's John. 100% that's John.
I'm like, "You want Don's address? I will write it out for you.
Yeah.
I will put it on my Google for you, and you can have my phone."
Let me stop you right there. You wouldn't even get past, bending it halfway.
Yeah. So would you last?
No way, man. That would no. Mm-mm.
So speaking of which, no, fuck no. So speaking of which, now we get to the interrogation scene. They give Arnold Schwarzenegger some truth serum.
And then Juno is there chatting it up with Harry, trying to twist the knife into Helen.
Right. You didn't
Metaphorically.
Right. You never told her about us.
Kind of making it like,
does she know about us? And he's like, "There's no us, you lying bitch."
You
And if you're
psychopathic bitch.
and if you're Helen, you're like, "Fuck, I don't believe you either."
Because he's been lying.
but
the
it's
whole
kind of
time.
funny is that first
Because this is true.
Harry thought
Lies.
that she was sleeping with Simon, and now Helen is suspecting that he's sleeping with Juno.
Reversal of fortune.
Yeah, so the story kind of just changes. So then we go into he gets injected by the crazy looking guy.
I thought this guy was great.
I thought he was perfect
guy?
casting.
Yeah, that was good.
With the true sermon, and as they go to the kind of scene where he's starting to get a little wobbly, and she asks him, what did they inject you with?
Sodium amytal, also a truth agent.
That makes you tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Is it working?
Ask me a question that I normally would lie to.
Are we gonna die?
Yep.
I'd say it's working.
I thought that was a great line.
And so now the creepy guy comes back to do the interrogation, and Arnold kind of tells him, "No, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to use you as a human shield.
Well, he said-
I'm going to."
The interrogation says, "So do you know what happens next?" And he goes, "Yes, I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to kill you."
I'm going to kill you very soon.
And how do you plan on doing that?
Well, I'm going to use you as a human shield. I'm going to take out this guy with that tool and that guy with this tool. Then I'm going to break your neck.
And I was thinking about maybe breaking a neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how are you going to do that? Easy.
You know my handcuffs?
I picked them.
And there you have it. Acted out by 3 guys in a flick.
And so he gets up, does all the things he says he was going to do, breaks the guy's neck, and they're trying to escape now.
And then we have Helen unbelievably following along with, I just saw my husband kill 2 people.
Yeah, but I loved how she's also seeing him in a new light. Though.
Exactly.
And the great part about it, too, is now he's ripped his shirt a bit, so he looks all, his muscles are all out, and he looks all action hero-like.
He looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger in a 1994 action adventure movie.
So this is, become the action movie. There's no longer as she saw it, the husband-wife love story. It's the...
Oh, yeah. Now they have to escape.
Arnold.
Right. Now, and it's amazing how fast that truth serum actually wore off, too.
Well, he stumbles a few times.
He stumbles a few times a little bit too late.
But what I loved is when they were showing him under the effects, they were showing like the whole world looking wonky, yet he still can hit everybody with a gun.
Oh, I know. So yeah, they're trying to escape, and someone takes Helen hostage or uses her as a shield.
Yeah, after he takes out like 6 guys,
yeah,
he comes out from behind, grabs her, puts a gun to her head, and says,
drop it. So Arnold drops the machine gun he has and turns the other way and shoots this guy right in the head without even thinking.
Didn't even hesitate.
Again, badass.
Total badass.
So now they are on the escape path, and Arnold is taking guys out with pretty much ease. I like when he grabs the gas tanker and he uses the gas nozzle.
The fuel nozzle.
Before that, we have to cover one important part that all of us just kind of joked about when we were watching this movie, which is he hands her a semi-automatic gun.
An Uzi.
And she goes to try to help him because he's just getting overpowered by a bunch of people.
Oh, that's right. So we're in the warehouse now.
As she starts to shoot the gun, she drops it, and it rolls down the stairs, spraying bullets, taking out every single bad guy, not hitting Arnold, and not hitting her at all.
So when I saw this happening, this moment in the movie, I felt was what made this a good action movie in the same way a James Bond movie is a good James Bond movie. We suspend belief when something happens that only James Bond can do. We accept it.
He doesn't drop a gun very
Excuse
often.
me. If you have James Bond in a plane flying one direction and there's a plane passing by in the other direction and James Bond takes shot with his handgun at the other pilot, everybody else in the world, you say, no way, bullshit, you're never gonna. But when we see James Bond do something like that, you're like, maybe he might. And when this machine gun roll happens down the stairs, guys in general are committed to this action flick. This is how I felt, that it's like, oh yeah. Meanwhile, my wife and her friends sitting there watching the movie are, oh brother, it's so ridiculous, you know?
Okay. First of all, Arnold is no James Bond, sir. Okay. Second of all, it was very clichéic, and it just felt very Cameron to me. And I probably could have done without this scene. She could have helped him out in a gazillion other ways. For her to drop I thought it would have been more effective if she held onto the damn gun and just smoked these fools.
Well, it was a great turning point. We had to wait until the limo scene was a great turning point that now we could have seen really the badass Helen coming together.
Well, if she is in fact a badass, remember she's still a housewife.
But she
hasn't had any training.
She's already thrown some punches. She already did the thing in the hotel. It all could come together now. She starts taking out the bad guys and saves him a couple times.
And then what kind of bothered me most about this scene is after it's all done and it's not slow motion anymore, we get a shot of Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and she was like, huh? Oh, cool. You just killed a bunch of guys and you give your husband a thumbs up. I get that, you're trying to save the world and you have all these nuclear weapons and all these bad guys against you. But I mean, for her to change that fast.
And they had just witnessed these terrorists burying a nuke, activating it, and then burying it underneath a bunch of cement and
concrete.
Cement.
It's concrete. Cement is a product in concrete.
It's concrete, dude.
Thank you, Professor.
That's why he's the fucking professor.
So anyway, now they've just taken out half the terrorists with a dropped Uzi.
Well, see, no, I don't even think it's half the terrorists. I think it's just like this much of a terrorist because there's so many more guys.
Yeah.
And Arnold has to go through and mow down so many more guys, which he's done, right? He's done it in Commando. He's done it in everything else he's been in.
But now we get to the scene with the tanker and the flamethrower.
Right, which I thought was kind of cool. I thought this bit was all right. So he splits off from Helen. He goes to a tanker, gets a hose nozzle, lights it on fire.
The flamethrower.
He's taking them out left and right.
And then finally,
Jamie Lee Curtis is witnessing this from a distance.
And then finally, Aziz gets fed up and he's like, how come no one can kill this fucker? And so he picks up a rocket launcher.
Okay, but do you see what he does with a rifle? I love what he does with a rifle.
What does he do with the rifle?
He does it one other time. He just throws it off to the side and somebody catches it. He doesn't even look where he's throwing it.
Oh, yeah, no, I noticed that.
He just throws it.
Well, he's badass.
Yeah.
He's the badass bad guy.
He was trying to be the equivalent of Arnold, but bad.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. So he uses a rocket launcher and he blows up the tanker and everything around it and surrounding it. And Arnold makes it into the water. He dives into the water.
But Helen doesn't know this at this point. She thinks that her husband just got blown up.
Which I thought was kind of a cool shot. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger in the water. And
it was a good looking shot.
And then the flame, the fireball from the explosion comes over the water. So you can see
that was a great camera angle.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And you know what's funny about that is it was probably all practical.
Oh, yeah.
In 94?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Cameron was just flirting on. When did Terminator 2 come out?
92?
Yeah. So, I mean, the technology was there, but it was stuff like that. A lot of that was in camera. So that was.
Yeah.
So, cutting back to
Helen and Juno.
Yep. So Helen and Juno are in Juno wants to kill Helen.
Yeah. Well, first she doesn't want to kill. She makes some comment about being a new widow. You know, how's it feel to be a widow or something like that? And Helen slaps her across the face, but she's turned her ring around.
All right, so it cuts her in the face.
So it slices her face, and so Juno pulls out a gun, and Aziz
stops her
because they might need a hostage.
They might need a hostage, yeah. So now we cut to that really long bridge.
Let's go, Susie Homemaker.
We cut to the car chase. There's 3 trucks in a limo?
3 trucks.
3 trucks.
That sounds like a movie.
3 trucks in a limo. And they take off.
3 guys in a flick, but yeah.
They take
3
off.
Trucks in a
and Harry is left stuck.
Right. But then we see the cavalry arrive.
Yeah, because that's when we find out about the bug in the she had the purse and they were able to track it because of the purse.
And this is one of those other moments, kind of like with the wetsuit, right? He just dove into the water. And when he's walking toward that hero shot where it's all the smoke and he's walking through the flames and he's meeting up with
they quickly
the
dried
teams. Yeah, he was completely dried. And his ripped shirt was even ironed. So
again, that government special material.
Is that what that is?
Yeah,
because that's funny.
They keep the good stuff for them.
Yeah. So, anyways, they figure out that
he knows their plan, and he tells them, come on, we got to get going.
We got 90 minutes on this nuke. Right. They've got 3 others in the truck. We need to get going and we need to stop them. Plus, they've got Helen.
And they get a couple of fighter pilots to help them out.
The jets take out the other 2 ones that are on the bridge. And then Helen has her whole scene where she's fighting Juno in the limo.
She sticks her arm out and Harry grabs her.
Yeah, but Jamie Lee Curtis did her own stunt for this.
I know that.
Pretty impressive.
That expression on her when she's looking up at the camera, that's all real.
Yeah, it's all badass because she insisted on doing her own stunt for that.
Yeah, I know that.
And that's where I thought we saw, okay, now here's the complete transition from housewife to future spy, future badass, Harry's wife.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, that was a life or death situation, right? The bridge was out.
The bridge is out.
The bridge is out.
Yeah, comedy, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Or he's trying to tell her and then...
Some quick one-liners. And then, of course, you have the whole thing of him almost getting her hand and then letting go. Almost getting her hand, letting go, building the suspense.
Man, the first time I saw those Harry jets come in, the first time I saw it, in love with that moment. That gave me goosebumps.
Oh, it was a great moment.
When they shot the fans or when they landed?
Gosh. No, when ultimately when they fire their tomahawks, when they fired those and you watch the smoke contrails following behind, oh my gosh.
I loved when the bridge did a ripple.
I can't believe I'm actually watching this. It was such a delight.
Yeah. Well, Cameron has always had a special relationship with the military.
And he loves explosions.
Yeah. Well, him and Michael Bay. But we can talk about Michael Bay a different day.
No, let's just leave him alone.
I sense some
he likes the Michael Bay. Sounds like blasphemy.
So
anyways, we're on this 7-mile bridge. A couple of explosions, some Harrier jets.
Why does when the van go over instantly engulfed in a ball of flame?
Oh, for dramatic effect. Right.
It
how come this bird just happens to land on
the pelican?
The pelican at the right exact second.
I felt like we were all sitting in a cartoon.
Yeah. Well, that whole scene was kind of cartoony.
Yeah.
Right. But I do like the moment when they're in the chopper and Arnold Schwarzenegger is telling the pilots to.
Are those nukes going to go off?
Yeah. That look that Arnold Schwarzenegger gives. He's like, I don't know.
He says, oh no, we're safe.
Yeah.
So, a bright boy alert. What's it called in real life?
I have no idea.
I will give you a clue.
Duck and cover.
No. It is
Spit on it?
It is a John.
Kiss your ass goodbye.
It is a John Travolta movie.
Face Off.
Broken Arrow.
Broken Arrow.
Bam, bitches.
When you have a nuclear device out in the wild and you cannot claim it, and you are tracking it down, it is a broken arrow. And right after Helen gets swooped up by Harry, which is a wonderfully gratifying moment, we see the turn in Helen as the helicopter is landing, and she lets out that glorious peal of excitement.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like she can't believe this is happening.
She finally, lived out her fantasy.
She has now turned. She has done something, and she won't go back.
Did it bother either of you that as we go into Act 3, she's done? I mean, they've just written her out of the story. That was her moment, and now she's done.
Let's be very clear about one thing. This was never her movie. So no, in fact, she was probably in it too much for Arnold's liking. So it didn't surprise me. I mean, you're looking back on it now, it seems rather obvious that they would go after the daughter, right? Because there's that moment where she's looking through that Aziz is looking through
His wallet.
Helen's purse.
Oh, purse.
Mm-hmm.
And sees the,
Mm-hmm.
and then the way they reveal that moment when he sees the picture is the picture is half pulled out of the cover, and Dana's face is perfectly covered by the leather of the wallet. And then it's like he was staring at it when the person comes up to talk to him. It's like he was staring at the picture in that position for a really long time. And then he finally decides to move it over to reveal the face of the daughter.
Well, I don't know. Isn't it a little bit like Die Hard when Hans is looking at the picture frame that's turned down?
No, because it takes him a second to realize.
But he leaves it. But then he comes back to it later. Hans.
Oh, you're talking about the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess. So, needless to say, the bad guys have kidnapped Harry and Helen's daughter. Dana takes her into a high rise. What does Harry do? He reacts like any natural father would and steals a Harrier jet.
He is in so much shit.
I know. And then the pilot's like, does somebody have to sign for this? And he's like, Tom Arnold's character's, I'll sign for it right now.
Somebody got a pen?
Hey, Harry, do you realize that it has in fact been 10 years since you've been behind the wheel of one of these things?
If I break it, they can take it out of my pay.
Another one-liner. Thank you, Arnold. So he takes the Harrier jet, flies. I think they're in Miami now, right?
Oh, a classic, was it Harry Tasker Takeoff, where he takes off and crashes into the police car?
Yeah, isn't that what Tom Arnold's saying? You're about to witness a classic Harry Tasker takeoff.
Yeah. And he's like, you might want to seek shelter. I'm thinking they're all on a bridge. What shelter are they going to seek?
It was a really satisfying moment to watch Harry, Arnold Schwarzenegger, taking off in the Harrier. It looked good.
Yeah.
It's like, no way. That looks so good.
And then go
ahead.
I like when he's taking off and then slowly moving, and then the jet just takes off.
Yeah. That was a miniature model.
Was that?
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The amount of time that Arnold spent in the cockpit, I got the impression that he felt like that he was always in the cockpit, especially during the rescue.
Yeah, he was for that whole final third act. He was definitely in the cockpit.
Yeah.
So he flies to where they're keeping Dana.
But what does Tom Arnold yell at him? What does the Gibbs yell at him?
What?
Don't worry, Harry. We got someone on the inside.
Oh yeah.
So we know that there's somebody there.
Right. Turns out to be what was his name?
Facile. The other guy in the van basically was acting as a cameraman because Aziz wanted the media to come in and do an interview.
Right. So they kidnap Dana Tasker. They're going to do this interview, and Aziz starts bragging, when I turn this key, the nuclear bomb's going to go off.
This scene bugged me. And I
totally
talked about it, that he says that comment, and then the media guy,
he's all, what key?
What key?
Who is this guy?
Do you even know what the key's supposed to look like?
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't he know ahead of time that this isn't your regular cameraman? We're sending in a guy with you who will make sure that you get out alive.
His
And he's just
cameraman's
gonna throw out-
dead.
I know, but he's going to make a comment of, what key? As we see Dana running away with the key.
Well, no. Well, he looks up and he knows instantly, right? The bad
Yeah.
guy, Vasil, Aziz. He knows instantly that Dana has it, and she's not making it. She's not. She knows.
And then Aziz does another throws the microphone to somebody else without even looking.
Yeah. That one I think I caught.
Okay, and he tries to shoot her. I was wondering ahead of time. I mean, I understand he wanted a hostage, but didn't he have other hostages? Why didn't he just shoot her early on once he thought that Arnold was dead?
I kind of had, I fundamentally had a problem with this entire sequence because Arnold Schwarzenegger's in a fucking Harrier and he's just kind of hovering around the building and he's, getting underneath the crane that Dana climbs on while the bad guy's chasing her. And then the whole ending confrontation happens when the guy is on the Harrier.
Well, one thing that bothered me since you brought up that scene is this was before when Arnold's, hovering and he's looking at the one scene where all the terrorists are. It's before he knew Dana had escaped with the key. He didn't know that Dana was up on the thing. So he starts shooting through the windows.
He was told that on floor 22, that's where Dana was, and on floor 20 was where all of the other terrorists.
Oh, so he is
right.
I
So
didn't
he,
hear
yeah, that's what.
because I kept thinking he could be shooting innocent people for all he knows in there, and Dana could have been amongst them.
Well, the body count in this, I think they kind of threw that out the door.
Yeah.
And then he takes out the entire floor with this machine gun. A little bit excessive. So he does that, and then there's the bit with the classic bit with the janitor cleaning up the office, and then it getting messed up because there's a jet in it. We have. That
was during the fight scene, wasn't it? It backs up because at this point Dana's up on this big crane. Aziz is trying to get to her, and she's threatening, "You kill me, and I drop this."
Yeah.
And they're trying to have a stalemate, and he's all like, "I will let you go, little girl. I promise. I will let you go."
What if she does drop it? Let's say she drops the fucking key. You're down on the street. You're sitting there, and all of a sudden this key just falls out of the sky.
Probably kill you.
Maybe.
No.
You don't think if it came down and hit you on the head, it'd kill you?
It probably fucking hurt.
Is that just a legend about pennies and stuff?
Yes, it is. There is no terminal velocity that is going to kill you.
Thank you, Professor.
But yeah, you're just sitting there. So she probably could have dropped it.
But it's...
And by the time he would have taken to get down, someone would have picked it up right away.
Here's my question for the two of you. I hate heights. I'm absolutely, getting up in those kind of heights freaks me out. Could you have climbed out on that crane?
If it was a life or death situation, probably.
People do crazy shit when they are backed into a corner and want to live.
Crazy.
I think I would have just thrown the key over and take any punishment I was going to get.
So
yeah, you would have taken a bullet to the head.
And that's...
But at least you would have saved how many people?
But
maybe.
But that's the gamble. That key is like your one shot, your one bullet. When do you use it?
Yeah.
Because if she drops it, she's just going to get shot.
So dropping of it kind of also takes me back to, so we're going back to the horse scene when the horse throws him over. When the horse throws him over the ledge, he throws his gun and he lets his gun go. Now, a gun falling from that height, hitting someone in the head, probably could kill him.
Because it's got sharp, jagged corners to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's kind of a dick, but he's also a badass. Mm-hmm. So anyways, they're having a fight on the Harrier.
Yeah, the Harrier comes up. Dana falls onto the Harrier. Aziz jumps on the back of the plane, which again, you got to have some big balls to jump on the back of a plane.
And he has nothing to grab onto. So, I mean, he's just kind of sliding. Then he finally grabs onto something.
He is committed to his jihad.
Oh, he fucking is. For sure. Then they have a kind of a fight. Dana has to hold on for dear life. Harry almost drops her. Father of the Year.
He gives her a little hint of, when Aziz points the gun at, he goes and gets the gun, points the gun at him. Is this before or after he racks himself on the back tail?
This is after. So
that's right.
Yeah, he racks himself on the back tail when he goes into the office with the janitor.
Which I'm thinking, if I was Aziz, I would have hopped off and called it a day at that point.
Yeah, I'm done. So Aziz is standing over Schwarzenegger with the gun, standing on this plane whilst in the air, and Arnold is holding on to his daughter's hand, who's on the nose of this Harrier,
holding on through broken glass.
Through broken glass. He kind of gives Dana a look like he's gonna roll the plane. She understands, like she knows what's going on. He rolls the plane as he slips and falls, gets hooked up on a Sidewinder missile, and then conveniently enough, through that big old hole in the building that Arnold created, he can see the helicopter that Aziz was in, and
with the other terrorists,
and there's the other terrorists
and the other nuke,
and this, can all get cleaned up really quick. And so Arnold delivers his one-liner.
You're fired.
Fires said missile, blows it up, lands safely, thus saving the day.
Classic Arnold.
Yeah. I thought Eliza Dana did a good job in this. When they landed, she was still clutching so hard to the jet.
I thought she did a great job.
And that Arnold had to tell her, we're on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she played that really well.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that.
And there's herself falling through the floor in a free fall. Her father flying a Harrier.
Yeah, so it's all kind of coming to.
What did she say at one point? Dad?
And he took out bad guys.
Yeah.
And he rescued me.
Yeah. And so, so then they get carried. They get taken away. He's known as the anonymous pilot. They save the day, and then we immediately cut to 1 year later. They're in the dining room having a family dinner, and this is what I didn't buy. I didn't buy this scene because, well, Arnold's not a great actor.
He gives his Total Recall face when they're doing like a thumb war or something.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's a Total Recall face when his nose is expanding or his
mouth is all over, showing all of his teeth and
I was like, I don't buy that this is that family.
Yeah.
James Cameron.
The thing that bothered me about this ending is they get a phone call. Jamie Lee Curtis answers, who's got the long hair now because it's been a year.
And did you notice the lighting? When when the camera gets closer to her face, her eyes,
and her eyes kind of narrow as that call comes in. That calling for Boris and Doris
and Boris,
and they're being activated,
right?
And then they both say, we've got a job, or what does she say?
We're on.
Yeah, she tells Arnold we're on, and then he comes up and could he listen to the phone call with it on her ear? Because he comes up and he gets real close to her, like, ooh, let me listen.
Yeah, but my thought was these two parents go off to do a big spy thing and leave the kid alone who doesn't know if her parents are ever coming back again.
Who was just hanging off
who's going to need some serious
of a
therapy.
Harrier.
That was a year ago.
She's going to have some serious therapy. She was upset about an absentee father in the beginning of the movie. Now she's got an absentee mother as well.
And they're spies because, again, she was hanging off the nose of a Harrier.
Parents of the year.
But she's 13 years old.
She was 14.
Well, good thing.
So now she's 15.
She's got a boyfriend on a bike.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So
he came right over after they left.
Well, naturally. And then we cut to, we have to have another tango scene. Yep. So they're having a tango scene, and then they bring back.
Before the tango scene.
Well, they bring back Bill Paxton's character,
who's being a waiter,
trying to pick up on this chick,
claiming that he's a spy.
Right.
Yep.
And I love how Jamie Lee Curtis says, I see someone that I want to talk to, or
right. And then they threaten him, and he pisses his pants again. And then the tango music starts. They start to tango. We cut to the into the van because Tom Arnold is in the van and monitoring.
National security guys.
Yeah, and he's like, "We don't got time for this. What are you guys doing?" And then he says,
"You know what? I'm sick of being in the van. You guys are going to be in the van next time. I've been in the van for 15 years, Harry."
Well, that was after some credits had rolled.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the credits do roll as they're dancing the tango.
And it's right as they...
Which I thought was fine.
As they finish the tango. But my thought, too, is, was Tom Arnold, as Gibbs is telling them, national security guys, again, he's making himself the star of attention, where everyone else is just doing a nice little dance. These two couple are doing this spectacular tango all the way across the whole dance floor with a rose and everything.
Because it's Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. So it just, they're not supposed to draw attention, and here they go.
Yep. And roll credits, and that in a nutshell was True Lies.
Yes, it was.
So since we'd all seen this before, did you feel like that it aged well for you?
Well, considering I couldn't watch it in high definition, it looked old and dated.
I would like to point out that we watched this movie, what was it, Tuesday night?
Yeah.
We got together here in Don's basement
Saturday.
and had to pull out the DVD because you can't get this movie anywhere else. And how many times did you fall asleep, Don?
Fuck, I think I slept through most of it.
Yeah, he had to re-borrow the DVD and watch it later because he kept falling asleep
To get
and
that DVD
snoring.
experience again.
Yeah. So
Was I snoring?
you were snoring at a couple points.
Oh, wow.
In fact, I even pointed a couple times. I got Ken's attention and pointed at you a couple times and was snickering.
I was comfortable, dude. What do you
Yeah.
want me to tell you?
Should we do our reviews? This was Ken's pick,
So he goes first?
so I think he should give the first rating.
Well, I certainly gushed enough.
1
about
out of 5 is what we're doing.
Yeah.
1 out of 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest.
Yes.
Well, like I said, I certainly gushed about this movie. I really enjoyed Arnold movies back in the day. Wonderful action flick. Jamie Lee Curtis, stellar in this. And like I said, I enjoyed several of the action sequences. The Harriers giving me goosebumps. Loved that whole taken out of the bridge. It's just like I couldn't believe I was able to watch that. That was so entertaining. In general, I think it's a really fun summer movie. I give it a good solid 4.
4. John?
Similar to what Ken was saying, great summer flick, great action flick. I love how they combine the comedy. I thought the comedy actually worked well with the action. It didn't take away from the story. I usually base a lot of my ratings on if I'm surfing through the channel guide and I see the movie, am I going to stop and watch it?
Mm-hmm.
This is a movie I would stop and watch.
First time around,
Anytime.
channel surfing.
And first time around, channel surfing, I'm going to probably stop and catch. I may not watch the whole movie.
Right. No. But
I'm
you would
gonna
stop
watch it for
first time.
certain clips. Yeah. And so because I won't watch the whole movie, but I am going to wait for like certain scenes, I'm going to give it a 4 as well.
Oh, wow. You guys are really generous.
So how do you feel about James Cameron?
Well, then there's that. I'm going to give it a good 3.5 because while it's not a perfect film, it is fun, very fun. Arnold is classic Arnold. You know exactly what you're getting when you go into it. This was another good collaboration between Cameron and Schwarzenegger. I mean, you have the first 2 Terminators plus this. Jamie Lee Curtis, brilliant. The casting's good. I enjoyed Tom Arnold. The story was very predictable. It was kind of by the numbers as far as spy movie goes, but I understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to tell the story of Harry Tasker and what it's going, what it takes to, have these 2 lives. And I thought that the spy life was very by the book, very colored by numbers. I like the home life aspect of it, right? I like Jamie Lee Curtis's character going out. I loved Bill Paxton.
Let's say if you had to rate this movie just based off of Bill Paxton,
yeah, oh, absolutely,
it'd be a 5 out of 5.
Probably. But unfortunately, no, because we still get some horrible one-liners. Tia Carrera, I could take her, leave her. And the bad guys were your typical bad guys from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So I give it a 3.5. Would I watch it when I'm flipping through channels? I would if I was flipping through channels and nothing else was on, right? All right, so that was 3 Guys in a Flick. We review the good, the bad, and the absurd. Hope to see you next week. See ya.
But why did she say they were priceless then?
That was the line. That's
what James Cameron wrote.
Okay.
He is the best writer ever. We
Then why
can't
didn't Jack-
really obtain this medal. What do we call it?
Then why didn't Jack?
unobtainium?
Why wasn't Jack able to get onto the door then?
Because Rose is a bitch.
I wasn't listening.
There was
It was
plenty of
2
room for
hours
both
and
of
5
them on
minutes
that
ago.
door.
Nah, they would have
I
sunk a
wasn't
motherfucker.
I don't think so.
All right, fuck off. Good night.